All right, so we can start. Our next speaker is Mr. Zeki Seskir. Zeki is a doctoral researcher at KIT, and he received his master's degree in physics and science technology policy studies. He's a founding member and advisor of the Q Turkey and an early member of Q World. His interests cover a wide range of topics from quantum information science to economics, philosophy of emerging technologies. So I'll just pass it out to Zeki to start out. Welcome.
Thank you, Parman, and thanks for this invitation, and thanks for the great event, at least until now. So, and yeah, I'm Zeki. I'm currently a PhD candidate at KIT, the Kassel Institute of Technology, Institute for Technology Assessment and Systems Analysis. And as Parman mentioned, I'm an early member of Q World, one of the co-coordinators of the Q Cousins department. I was a co-coordinator of Q Turkey until last year. I'm just an advisor, and we are forming, or let's say trying to form, Q Germany this year. And today I will talk about quantum games, interactive tools for quantum technologies, education, and outreach. So this is the outline of the talk, but first, if you want to reach me, you can connect me at LinkedIn. You can connect with me, or you can send me an email afterwards the talk. During the talk, you can ask your questions, but maybe it would be better to just complete the talk and then ask your questions later, because I have something like 30 slides, which means that there will be plenty of time for Q&A. And the outline of the talk today is I will briefly talk about quantum games, why, when, how, what are these games. Later, I will kind of introduce the context of our research, which was done as a pilot study or under a pilot study under the QTEDU, which is Quantum Technologies Education, Coordination and Support Action of the Quantum Flagship. And it was titled Quantum Technology Education for Everyone. Later, I will talk about our paper, which is open access. You can find it. This is the title, Quantum Games and Interactive Tools for Quantum Technologies Outreach and Education, which is the same title with the talk. I will talk about some additional points and conclude. So, quantum games. This is James from IBM, James Wooten, also a co-author of ours. And quantum computers are a new technology. Games are great. Let's put them together. This is what I have been looking into for the past few years, and many others have now heard the call and joined the fun. So James has been developing quantum games, as far as I know, since 2016. So he has been around and he has been developing these games to see what can be done with quantum computers in terms of games. And why have quantum games? Well, first thing that comes to mind is for teaching quantum physics and quantum technologies, and especially quantum computing. It can help citizen science efforts. It can help raising awareness, because games are easier to convey rather than a complicated educational material or an outreach material. They can be used for learning tool and for practice. Gamified approaches are rather widespreadly adopted around the world in many different topics, and they can be fun. We have done a study under Q Intern 2021, so it's almost 2 years ago. And we have found that back then there was around 100, not around, but we found exactly 120 quantum games. There was a previous study that was done in 2019, which found 70 games. And more recently, there's a list of under kiedos.art that lists 218 games. So here, even in our study, you can see that following 2014, which is the first event under the Finnish quantum.
It's
not a question, I guess.
It
has been a linear growth in terms of number of quantum games. And if we look at the type of these games, most of them are puzzle and simulation and arcade, but there's a great diversity in what type of games have been developed in terms of using quantum physics and properties from quantum physics as the core mechanics of games. Are they popular? So one rather particular example is with quantum chess. There was this video, Stephen Hawking faces Paul Rudd in epic chess match, which is also there was Keanu Reeves in that video. So it was a rather good advertising for quantum chess, and even now it has nearly 9 million views. But also it's not the only thing. There's this IBM game, Hello Quantum. I will talk about this in a minute. And also even in Minecraft, you can play Minecraft or sort of a quantum Minecraft on a quantum computer, or let's say enhanced by a quantum computer, because you can play anything on a quantum computer right now. And the pilot project, it actually ran between 2019 and 2021. Marie-Lou from PISA and myself, we were the co-coordinators of this effort. And from this website or using this QR code, you can go and check the details and the other participants and the other outcomes of this pilot project. We organized a lot of things like hackathons, quantum game jams, realized live events, Delphi studies. So it is concluded now, but we believe that it was kind of a successful pilot project. And who were we? As you can see from here, there were many partners. Q World is one of them. Q Poland was one of them. A lot of it was a great collaborative effort to come up with these outcomes. And we tried to produce the essential syllabus of quantum physics concepts to be outreach and of their main applications to quantum technologies. We conducted a Delphi study to identify the stakeholders, problems, and opportunities in outreach activities in Qt. A paper on this is also coming. Hopefully, we submitted it, but we will see. We realized joint outreach activities and formulated and implemented RI dimensions into the pilot activities. And we organized hackathons, the European Researchers Night. There was this great event for the Quantum Jungle. I would strongly recommend you after this event to go and check on YouTube. Just write Quantum Jungle, and there's this great exhibition. We helped organize the Internet Festival, Quantum Game Jam, Let's Talk Quantum Games, and many other events. And also the Responsible Quantum Technologies event in KIT. We organized it also last year, and this year we will also organize the third iteration. And we presented some of our findings in the World Conference on Physics Education. And the title of today's talk and the main content is this paper. As I mentioned, you can in optical engineering, the journal. Let me just turn off my video because it warns me that my internet connection is unstable. I hope that it helps. So under this paper, we kind of included and talked about several games and interactive tools for Qt outreach and education. They were Hello Quantum, Hello Qiskit, Particle in a Box, Cyan Delta, QPlay Learn as a company, Virtual Lab by Quantum Flight Lab, the Quantum Odyssey, Science at Home, which is another company, and the Virtual Quantum Optics Laboratory. And this was a special section on education and training in quantum science and technologies. And here you can see the cover of this section, which is the Quantum Jungle exhibition I mentioned previously. So let's begin. The Hello Quantum games. This is the game from IBM, and it's a puzzle game. You have this board with different colored, let's say, circles, and you apply certain gates to try to solve the puzzle. That you are given a target, and then by applying the gates, you are trying to reach that target. And the idea of this is to just have a general understanding of what these gates do. You can play it on your phone, or you can play it on your browser. It's free to access, and it's provided by IBM. And the second games that we investigated in the paper are Cyan Delta and Particle in a Box. So these are platform games. I would recommend them because they are also rather fun to play, regardless of the quantum aspects. And you can actually reach them on the Georgia Tech website. You can just check this, or I mean, you can just Google them as well. But they were developed by this design group in Georgia Tech. Aditya Anupam was the main developer, and he was also one of the co-authors in the paper. And here you can see, the idea behind these games are to just convey some of the concepts of quantum mechanics in a fun and easy to internalize manner. There is also QPlayLearn, and they're a company in Finland. And what they do is they have these quantum pills, which are short videos, and they have these different games and also some card games. So I would strongly recommend, if you're interested in these kind of stuff, to check their website. And also, I suppose most of you already know this if you're interested in anything related to quantum, but this is a very fun game, a browser-based game that is free to play, of course, that was developed, or let's say supported by the Center for Quantum Technologies in Singapore and the Unitary Fund, and the developers were, I think, Piotr and Clem from Poland, and you can play it via the quantumgame.io. And it is powered by the virtual lab by Quantum Flight Lab. And this quantum game is just a one application of this virtual lab, because the virtual lab itself is much more than a game. It is technically a full-on interactive simulation of quantum optics and certain quantum mechanics items. You can design your own experiment on it. You can design your own application on it. So I would strongly recommend you to check this paper by Piotr, Clem, and their co-authors. I think it's already published, so this is the archive version. But you can go and check the quantumflighttrap.com as well. Sadly, sadly for us, they ended their operations in the company because they are doing much cooler stuff right now, rather than just this virtual simulation. But they gracefully, they are still keeping it open for us to enjoy and utilize. And Quantum Odyssey, I think this is one of the only games that you need to buy, but it is a very, very comprehensive and detailed and also fun to play with great visuals, quantum computation learning experience, and also game. We actually, so last year we organized an exhibition in Karlsruhe that was open to the public. And this was the game that most people enjoyed the most, let's say, because the graphics are rather cool to look at. And there are several chapters, And in this game, again, what you do is it's practically a puzzle game. You are given a target, and then you are trying to apply the gates to the initial state, and change that state to the final given target state. So these are from Science at Home. These are more elementary games because technically they are not games. They are citizen science initiatives. And here you can design your own experiments. You can join, or you were able to join already ongoing experiments. And the team has some rather cool and good papers on how you can compare certain Monte Carlo simulations versus the input from thousands of participants. And at least back then, the thousands of participants that are actual people resulted in better results than the AI systems. I think the, the results might be different now with GPT-4, but at least this is a good example of how these interactive tools and games can be used for citizen science efforts. And finally, this virtual quantum optics laboratory, you can just reach it via vqol.org. It is, I think it is almost a fully complete experiment simulation or lab simulator. You can place a lot of different lab components like beam splitters, detectors. Can you hear me? Because I see that
Yes.
some
Yeah, we
okay
can hear you.
on the chat somebody wrote that I don't have any voice or picture. So
Everything is perfect.
And yeah, you can put a source, a laser source. You can play with the power. You can play with the polarization. You can play with a lot of things. And the really cool thing about VQOL is that they actually have a full-on lab manual. They developed this during the pandemic shutdowns. So students were not able to go to the lab, and they brought the labs to the students. And here you can see, I mean, I suppose a lot of you have experience with physics labs. This is a full-on physics lab manual. You can see there are experiments. You can see there's this components. There are discussions on the components, discussions on the classical and quantum optics, distribution. So a lot of really useful stuff if you're an educator or if you are just a student that is interested in quantum optics, because as I said, this is an online free to access lab that you don't actually need to go to a quantum optics lab. I'm not saying that this can replace the actual lab experience, because having an hands-on experience is really important, but this might enable both students and instructors in a way that you don't need to set up the entire thing to test whether it works or not, or whether what is the outcome of it. So some additional points. Yeah, activities in creating quantum games. We have seen that most of the quantum games, not most, but a considerable number of quantum games were created in hackathons and game jams. So they are useful in helping people and interested parties to create these quantum games. There was also some courses on creating quantum computer games in Texas and in Aalto University. Actually, Aalto University has a global quantum gaming course that I suspect anybody can just enroll, and in the end, you get to develop your own quantum game. I don't know whether it is accepting students right now, but you can check their website. And oh, sorry. And one important thing is The assessment tools and criteria are important and missing. Because let's say that you get to compare 10 different quantum games. What are the comparison criteria? You don't know. And even if you decide on certain criteria, how would you assess those criteria? Because this is a really new and emerging topic. And in the paper, we had some preliminary suggestions like correctness, are the assumptions and usage of quantum mechanics and quantum computing appropriate? Playability, is the game entertaining? Does it have educational potential? Is the user interface inviting? Originality, how creative and innovative is the idea? And quality and completeness, is the game polished, ready to play? Are the mechanics well introduced? So these are also important for, let's say that you are organizing a quantum gaming hackathon. At some point you need to be able to assess the games or the outcomes, or if you are organizing a course, you need to be able to assess the outcomes. And we, suggested these four. These are of course not the only possible four. If you can develop more and you can assess them properly, of course there can be many different assessment mechanisms or formulations possible. Also, there's a great paper. Again, James is a co-author. So Laura is from the Aalto University, and she's also one of the co-organizers of these global quantum game jams. And it's titled "Defining Quantum Games" because there was also this discussion on what is a quantum game, how can we differentiate between a classical game and a quantum game. And I would recommend, if you're interested in the topic, I would recommend you to go and check that paper. I think it's still on archive. It hasn't been published yet, but even if it's published, it's on archive and you can get the link to the published version. And also, again, last year, there was this global quantum game jam and quantum games hackathon organized by the Quantum AI Foundation, which is founded by Pavel, who is also the head of our Q Cousins department and the Q Poland. So this is kind of a summary of the games we presented in the paper. So we only included the games and not interactive tools like VQL. And here you can see the years, the operating systems, whether they are free, licensed, what kind of license they are, the type of the games, and the concepts they aim to teach and to emphasize on. Of course, we haven't covered all the games. As I show you, there are more than 200 games, so it was not possible for us to cover all of them. But these are some that are rather also important in the community, like the quantum chess, the qubit game. So this is from Google Quantum AI, the quantum minesweeper. So if you're interested, I would also recommend you to go and check these games. So, conclusion, quantum games is an emerging topic acknowledged by some companies, especially like IBM and Google. So the big ones in the field are also seeing the importance of this approach of developing quantum games for education and outreach, but also for fun and to test the actual devices. So I think we will see more and more quantum games being developed in the following years, and also the topic becoming more mainstream in the following period. There are many games and tools developed for the purpose of quantum outreach and education, and there are even several startups focusing on this. So there are at least three startups focusing on this topic, and also there are several startups focusing on practically quantum outreach and education, and they are using quantum games as one of these one of their tools or one of their techniques in developing quantum outreach and education efforts. And there's a need and demand by the community for the development of assessment criteria and tools that can be implemented and utilized easily. So if the question there or the problem there is, if you are giving 10 different quantum games, how can you compare them and how can you do this easily? Because I mean, of course you can compare them in a very detailed manner, but we don't want that, right? Nobody has that kind of a time unless you're writing a thesis on it or something. And some out there questions to think about. As I said, there's interest from companies like IBM and Google, but not from the gaming industry. So why the gaming industry is not involved? Isn't quantum cool enough for them? And what is special about quantum games? Aren't all games just games? Do we need to classify AI games, nanotechnology games, biotechnology games too? Or is something special about quantum? So is there or can there be a way to quantize existing classical games? Can all games be quantizable? Like there's the quantum chess, quantum tic-tac-toe, quantum battleship. So there is a quantum version of existing classical games, but is there a way to do this systematically? And one important question is how to fund the field. Should the developers aim for something like a quantum Candy Crush that will bring a lot of interest and money into the field, or is there another way? And what is the most appropriate medium for quantum games? Is it PC, Mac, mobile, browser-based, console, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality? So what is the medium for these games? And finally, I would like to advertise that QWorld is a partner of this Quantum Game Jam 2023, which will be organized in September 15 and 17. So it will be in between, a 3-day event. You can go and check the Quantum Game Jam 2023 at itch.io. And one important thing about this game jam is the organizers want this game jam to be supported by a lot of local events. So if you're interested in organizing a local quantum game jam, please reach out to us at the Q Cousins department. So either me or Kenneth or Kenneth Dabu is also interested in this, but I think we will be the ones, Kenneth and myself, to be providing connection between the organizers and the local events. And there's a Discord channel. There are some recordings from the previous years. So since it's a jam, there's no prize or something involved. It's more of a hackathon thing to give prizes for the or make a list of the best games or something. But this is an opportunity for those that are interested in developing their own games to just be a part of the community, learn from them, ask the people, ask the mentors, look at what others are doing. So if you're interested in this, I would strongly recommend you to take part in this global event. And with that being said, I would like to thanks for listening. You can check the pilot project or the paper through these links and QR codes. And also, again, I would like to thank to Mustafa and the QURN team for inviting me and for this great event.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Zeki. That was a great presentation. I personally was kind of involved with most of the games you introduced. So if you have any questions, we would welcome to
yeah, I think that's a good question. It should be either through their website, but if you can't find it online, just send me an email, because or send Brian an email. He is the main developer or he's the lead of the group in Texas, and I suspect they would also be helpful in basically helping those that want to adopt this thing in an educational manner. And also there might be a newer version. Mine is from 2021, and it has been almost 2 years. I suspect they might have a newer version of the lab manual.
Yeah, there's an article. I guess I've seen the archive article. It kind of gives a complete and comprehensive of everything that's there. So
What do you mean on VQOL or?
yeah.
Yeah. They also have an article published on this. It's also a good one. But this lab manual is it's a lab manual. It's practically something like 60 pages, some experiments, description of the components and the lab setup. So it's if those who have taught labs previously or was assistants for labs, they would understand what a lab manual is, and it's not a paper, it's just a lab manual.
Yeah, there's also a lot of examples and prepared setups already that you can just try out.
Oh yeah, I would strongly recommend if you're interested to go and check what others have already done. And one cool thing is you can practically reproduce the kind of famous quantum optics experiments, which is I think it's a really nice way to further develop some insights on what those experiments involved, and back then what were the mindset of those people that actually designed those experiments.
Yeah, but it just kind of lacks, I guess, from the output or the analysis of results. It kind of needs post-processing if you want to get on further with what else you can do. I guess right now it only gives you like the count rates and the output power, but the examples are very sophisticated. There's quantum entanglement, there's cryptography examples, quantum gates, quantum algorithms, and Mach-Zehnder interferometer. There's a bunch of examples, so you could just work with them, see how it works. It's really a great tool. I actually use it as a teaching assistant for our quantum optics course.
That's wonderful.
All right, so if there isn't any other questions, we can wrap it up for the morning session, and we will be back in a couple of hours with our 3 other presentations for the afternoon. And yeah, that's it. Thank you,
Thanks,
Zeki, for.
Payment, just I want to ask a quick question to Zeki. I'm not sure, but is this the main paper that you were talking about? It's, you put all this information in this paper, or it was another paper? I just put it in the chat.
Do you mean the on the games or the
Yeah,
VQL?
yeah. No, all game.
Yeah, so all the information except the pilot things that I mentioned, they are in this paper, but also in that special section, the virtual lab from Quantum Flight Trap. It also has a paper there. So I would strongly recommend you to check the entire special section from optical engineering, because there are some other cool papers as well that are also part of the pilot project. and some of the findings, for example, for the Delphi study, they are not included in that paper because they're included in another paper. That's a better way for us. And hopefully it will be published this year. But if you're interested, I can just share the papers with you afterwards if you send me a message.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So
I have a question. Okay, can I ask?
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Zeki. It was a great presentation. I personally really like it, and it was great. We had a meeting some days ago with Keyword. They said that the main part of activity in Q Education department is designing new materials, new educational materials like Q bronze, Q silver, Q gold. I would like to know if we have any section in Q education department for designing games, quantum games. Do we have? It would be great if we shake groups among Q cousins to collaborate with each other to designing quantum games and be active in this section also, because it's so interesting and to understand quantum concepts and convey them, yeah, in better way.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's a great idea. We actually tried to do, I mean, for a mapping exercise, I did something for the Q intern like 2 years ago, and we tried to organize quantum gaming hackathons in Poland, in Turkey, and globally. But specifically for education, I don't think we have done something like this, but which is a really good idea. We hosted some already done work, like there's this group from India that has done some work on developing certain educational games. As I mentioned, there's this Finland group. There are some smaller groups that are developing educational games for quantum computing and quantum technologies, but we ourselves haven't done something like that. And one reason might be there is a lot of other things to do and not enough people that are doing those. So if you're interested in it and if others are also interested, I think the Q-World would be rather happy to support such initiatives.
Great. And when we have Q German?
Technically, we do have Q Germanies. We have done the entangling workshop, and the website is kind of also ready, but we haven't organized our first event yet. But let's see, because I technically don't want to be a coordinator for it. I just want to be an advisor, and it's up to the coordinators.
Great. Okay.
All right. So thanks again for the presentation and accepting the invitation. Yeah, I'll just give a note to the participant about the afternoon sessions in Persian. So if you want to say goodbye, we can just, yeah.
Yeah, goodbye. Thanks again for the invitation. Have a great event.
Thank you, Zeki, for accepting your invitation.
Have a great day.
You too.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.